Hi, I'm Dane, and I'm here with my good friend Adam.
Hi.
Welcome to Peeling Off the Bark, where every week Adam and I share a piece of music and discuss what the song means to us and how it has impacted our lives.
Music is a great way to start conversations about things that usually get left unsaid. We hope that by having open and frank conversations on the podcast, we can encourage others to do the same.
Hello, Adam. How are you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Caught us off guard there. I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's your Christmas been and that? You had a good one?
I had a standard affair. How about you?
Yeah, good, mate. Aye, really good. You been listening to any festive tracks or anything this past week, or is it anything specific?
And I've had my fill. I listened to Last Christmas about 20 million times.
Standard. It's got to be done.
Of course, it is. Honestly, I think it's my favourite Christmas song, even though it is the most popular Christmas song.
Yeah,
arguably. Yeah.
It's definitely up there with mine. Like, I like a bit of driving home for Christmas as well, though.
I do like it, but me and my brother realised this Christmas that every time it comes on, my mum and stepdad make the same joke, which is that he's been driving home for Christmas for 33 years. They say it every time the song comes on, both of them. So it's unbearable.
It spoils the effect a bit, like, doesn't it?
It does. And my girlfriend told us, like, the other day, I think it was her, that the guy's from Middlesbrough. Did you know that?
Yeah. He was on an episode of Gone Fishing with Bob Mortimer, where they kind of interviewed him and stuff. And I was surprised to see him. And he, like, without trying to offend him at all, he did kind of look a little bit homeless. And come across as a bit of in a bit of a state, but he was an interesting character for sure.
To answer your question, I haven't really been listening to much festive music. I have been listening to a band called, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and this is foreshadowing for the song that I'm going to do in this episode. So,
okay,
if you're familiar with this artist, you might be able to piece together where this episode's going. So the band are called Portico Quartet.
Okay.
And they're a sort of. Are you familiar with them?
I'm not. No.
No. I've been hammering them this week. Like, they've got this one album. It's a very colourful album. I can't even remember what it's called because I discovered it this week through going back to the song that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like a jazzy, instrumental, saxophone-y band.
Okay.
And it's they're really nice, and so I've been hammering them.
Oh, cool.
What have you been listening to?
I've been having a bit of a blast from the past. Really, I was going through some old YouTube video stuff, and I come across the Kings of Leon cover of "Dancing on My Own," I think it's called, by Robin. They've got like
heard that.
Yeah, they've got like a Radio 1 live session version of it, where, I mean, I love the original song, it's fucking wicked, but the new one is really good as well. Well, the cover version is really good as well. So that's what I've been listening to, amongst a range of other stuff, including Christmas music as well. Yeah.
Driving home for Christmas on repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
Class.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's nice. That's nice. I think we've veered too much. We've veered off the track for long enough. So I'll get right into it.
Cool.
So this song is going to be one that you definitely are familiar with because you showed us it.
Okay, classic.
Yeah, I think that's been the case for nearly every song that has been and is going to be on this podcast from me.
Well, I'm flattered.
No, I'm just trying to get you good books. Don't even like these songs. So, yeah, I'm going back about 4 or 5 years. I think it was like the end of summer 2018. As you obviously know, I moved to Germany. I moved to Frankfurt in Germany, and had just finished university, had got offered a job over there and went over there, and I didn't know anyone there. I didn't have any like ties to the place or anything, so I was kind of just like leaving all friends and family behind and going to this unknown place. Obviously, it's not that scary because it's Germany and they're very similar culturally to people from the UK, but like still just going. I'd never lived away from home before. It studied quite close to home,
It,
and
I was going to say, yeah, it's a super scary prospect, isn't it? Anyway, like moving away somewhere else in your own country, like is scary enough, but moving abroad somewhere on your own, it definitely don't play it down. It was a big, big life decision for sure.
I appreciate that. It felt like it. I mean, it feels like it's still. Looking back, it's mad. Like it's quite blurry looking back and stuff. But yeah, and not speaking any German as well. That's probably quite a key thing. Um, but yeah, I remember I went there, and all I had was like a big suitcase full of like random stuff. Looking back, so I'm gonna share my screen in a moment. But basically, and show you some of the photos from like what the flat looked like when I first got there. I know you'd seen it because you came over to visit a few times, but like there's 4 photos I've got of like when I first got there, and I just had I brought the most random stuff. So I got there, got put in. I found a flat through one of my future co-workers, and it's like this like horrible German flat from like the mid 20th century or something. I don't know. It's just so disgusting.
So I've pulled up the pictures.
So like on the first, like, so as I say, I brought the most random stuff, and like one of the things was like me and you had went to Scotland once, and a homeless man had gave us a lamp. I don't know if you remember that.
I actually can't remember the lamp situation, but no.
Well, yeah, I don't know why, but like we met some homeless guys in Edinburgh, I think, and like he had loads of stuff that he found in a skip, and he gave us a lamp, and it just like, I don't know, I just remember being like, that's class, and I took that to Germany, and you can see that in one of the photos. In fact, it's the light source on this picture, the first picture, but yeah, I had basically nothing, and then I had. I didn't even have plates or anything. So on the second photo, you can see like I'm eating straight from the pan because I didn't have anything to put the food onto.
Oh, that's hilarious! It's like
I
a
know.
proper old school pot, like
Yeah,
silver pot.
it is. So I need to be clear. I had plates. Sorry, I didn't have bowls, is what it was, if I'm not mistaken. I am trying to piece it together, but yeah, it's like horrible. It was all horrible stuff that the landlord had like loaned us until I got my own stuff. Hence why there's that like disgusting old table and chairs. And then if you go to the next photo, there's the kitchen, which was like just
Looks very
an absolute.
70s.
It's earlier in the 70s, man. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. And then my bed on the fourth photo, just
Wow.
a sad little mattress.
This kind of look like you're squatting, doesn't it?
It really does. All I had, weirdly enough, in Germany's a weird place in terms of furniture. I'm just going off on a side topic here. It's not common that you would even have a kitchen when you go rent a place. Like people take their own kitchens when they go renting places. And the reason that I'm using that lamp is not because I'm like, I prefer a softer light, which I do, but it's because there wasn't even like fixtures for the lights on the ceiling.
Oh,
Because in
really?
Germany, like, yeah, like they take that stuff. So yeah, I was lucky to have a kitchen.
Wow.
um,
So like
it's
their
mad.
version of unfurnished is a lot a lot more extreme than ours. It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, they're an extreme people. Anyways, the point is, I didn't have much there, and I didn't have for the first like 2 weeks. I didn't have any internet. I didn't start my job straight away. So in terms of like media, all I had was what was on my laptop. So like songs and stuff was all just what was downloaded on my laptop. And I think there was, yeah, I don't think I had my, I don't know, either I didn't have any data on my phone, or my phone wasn't working abroad for whatever reason. My phone wasn't an option because I remember I had to go to like coffee shops just to like do like basic things like sign up for the internet and like
Oh,
get
wow.
registered and everything. But I had downloaded a handful of tracks, like handful of artists' albums, randomly, like just over time. So it was kind of like, because I didn't prepare for this scenario, so I just had whatever I had. And one of the albums was an album, which this track is off, called Shadow Work by Mammal Hands.
Ah,
Which,
nice.
you had showed us. I must have been very briefly before I left for Germany. You showed us the music video for this track that I'm about to talk about, and the track is called Boreal Forest or Boreal Forest.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Very nice, man.
and
I'm excited to listen to it again for sure.
right, um, mate. Anytime I listen to this song, like without fail, I think of you, and I think of like being in that like that the flat with the photos that I've just showed you. And this just sounds like I'm sounds so much like I'm licking your ass, which I am.
I'm still here,
But
like it's not like I've deceased.
yeah, dude. No, but I just remember because we were like really close at that point and like just missing everyone, and that song reminded me of like missing all my friends and family and stuff. But especially you in that situation.
That's quite sweet.
Yeah.
So shall we give it a listen then? Wow. That brought back all the memories, to be fair. Like I absolutely, what a tune, first of all. Like what an absolute tune.
So good. I mean, like, if you're someone who doesn't like instrumental music or doesn't really realize they don't like who just thinks they don't like it,
Yeah.
I think that's such a great song to be like, to make you realize that it can be so much more than you think it might be. Like,
It doesn't need to be driven by vocals or
Yeah.
a singer to have such an impact.
exactly, it doesn't feel like it's missing anything. It's it's so good. It's so good.
It is. It really actually reminds us like the compositionally, especially like the saxophone or is that the instrument that he's using? He's using like
I think so. Yeah.
brass kind of. Um,
Yeah.
it really reminds us of kind of Philip Glass in terms of the like repetitiveness of it, but it's almost like it kind of pulls you in, like lulls you in, and then it has this massive climactic finish at the end when it all just seems to rise up the top and everyone's together and the harmonies are all, oh, it's amazing. It's a really it's an experience in a song, really. It takes you on such a journey.
100% agree. Like, and it's such a rewarding one because when it finished, like when it gets to the end, as you said, just said there, the kind of build up, it's so good. Even just like the way the drums move from like the kind of like I don't know what those, them drumsticks he's using where it's like is it like samba drumsticks?
I'm not sure like where they originate from, but I know exactly what you mean with the kind of have like material or like steel almost on the end, like
Yeah,
like soft steel that he like uses to hit the drums to give like a kind of more textured sound, I guess.
yeah. It's like really soft, as you say, textured sound, and that moves, and then by the end, he's just like,
Yeah, it's like super fast.
yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, and like I love the video as well, like the setting of it, like of the coast and the even the color correction on the video, like the soft low contrast, like
I was gonna say that really,
washed out colors.
yeah, the washed outness of it. It really takes us back. Like it's been a long time since I've seen that video, and it takes us back to that period that you were talking about before you moved away. Probably around about the time that the video was shared with you or whatever. But
Yeah,
it takes us back to looking at it and kind of, in a way, it reminds us of like all these experiences we've had since then as well. Like looking at that now, and then also like it has a weird probably because you just spoke about it and give us the imagery from like the flat and things like that, but it does remind us of Germany in a way, like the grayness of it, and I know, although I mean I know there's a
diss to the Germans.
that's not to
The
say
grey country.
it's not to say it's a boring country, because it's definitely not. There's such beauty to had, and especially in Frankfurt where you stayed. And it certainly doesn't remind us of Frankfurt. I mean, there's a lot of like forestry scenery in the coast and things like that. It just, I guess, reminds us more of the experience or the feeling of being there rather than the actual scenery and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's a class video, and definitely for anyone that hasn't experienced music, like sort of just playing music, instrumentals, that's a surefire one to be sharing out to anyone. Like, definitely.
Definitely. Going back to what you just said there, by the way, about like the fact that you listen to it and it evokes a memory of a place that doesn't necessarily represent it in any way
Mhm.
visually. I Germany in your case, like as you said, Frankfurt's in the middle of Germany. The nearest coast is like miles and miles away, and there's very little forest there as well because it's a big city. The same thing applies. Like when I think of that song, when I was thinking of the music video in my head, I was picturing that those images of the flat, even the yellowness of it. Like I know that you can like there was that color. Maybe it's just because there's like lots of the kind of yellowy wood in the picture, but the light in the lighting and stuff. I picture it very yellow like that. And I picture the music video because of that association, kind of yellow,
Right.
even though it's far from what it actually is,
Yeah, it's almost like
which
the
is
opposite, isn't it? It's
interesting.
like washed out in the video, whereas the images and the memories that it evokes for you, I guess, is like you say, a yellowy kind of almost 70s vibe with that apartment.
Yeah, early 70s. Um, yeah, but I really like going back to that song. I very rarely listen to it now because like, or at least I didn't. Like after the time because like whenever I listen to it, it elicited such strong memories of that time of
Mhm.
being there and like the sad side of it, I guess. Just feeling like lonely.
Yeah.
And um, it wasn't necessarily that like that was a bad thing, but it's also like kind of you know when you have like a song and it has memories like that, you kind of want to preserve it so you can go back to that whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just hammer it afterwards, you lose that ability to go back to it because it starts to remind you, like you kind of alluded to, starts to remind you of new memories, um, and its potency is sort of weakened, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. It reminds us of other songs where I won't necessarily go back to them for that reason because I want it to preserve the potency as you described. And sometimes it's nice to have a song that will remind you of loneliness so that if you ever do feel lonely, to go back to that, it kind of almost is a weird reassurance or a way
Yeah,
to like give a bit of comfort to a scenario or remind yourself of another time that you felt lonely and you got through that one so you can get through another time kind of thing.
exactly. It's like I've been here before, and this is the tangible proof of that experience,
Mhm.
almost.
Even if it's a nostalgic loneliness, because at the time you might not have felt lonely when you were listening to it. I know in this instance you said you did, but like the memory that attaches to Germany for you as a whole, I imagine is a positive one rather than like a feeling of loneliness. I mean, correct us if I'm wrong there, but like I imagine there's more positives that you're taking from it than like just the overwhelming loneliness of when you were there.
A
Um,
100%.
yeah.
Like that, I was going to allude to that later. Like, um, the flip side of it is that whenever what the I don't really when I think about it, I do think of the loneliness, but the thing that I think of more is like that it was a springboard kind of like it doesn't get much worse than that really. Like being completely alone in a place and having like that setup, I guess. Whereas as time moved on, I made loads of friends. I had loads of really, really good experiences. It was a massively enriching experience. Um, and this, like, the song now, it gives us a sort of feeling of like you've got you've just started something new and you've got all of these amazing things to look forward to, um, and whatever those might be, like the job because I was going there for a new job, the people you're going to meet, the things you're going to try, um, and it's kind of just like the unknown and the possibilities that could unfold, and like that is the stronger feeling listening to the song in retrospect.
Yeah.
So you've hit the nail on the head there when in your description,
Oh,
100%.
that's pretty cool though, like that because it is like a clean slate, sorry, like sort of feeling that you associate with it now, whereas at the time it was like a sense of loneliness or whatever. That I think that's really cool. And again, just goes to
Definitely.
show how powerful like a nostalgic thread can be pulled from just listening to one piece of music.
Yeah, 100%. It's incredible. Um, yeah. Sorry, I did. I had nothing to follow up with there other than yeah, that was it. It is incredible.
It's all good. Sometimes like I don't know what to say in like to follow on when you've said something that's like hit the nail on the head, like description wise, and I don't really know what to say following it. Um,
Yeah.
but I like returning back to this. I think like the song itself is beautiful, and it does now because I don't have specific memories attached to it. I'm probably now going to remember that kind of attached to it, um, which is pretty cool because, as I say, my previous memories of it was just kind of like a discovery. I thought it was really cool, but I didn't have any like really vivid memories attached to it.
Yeah. Well, this is what I wanted to talk about here.
Hmm.
So I feel like there's been many songs over the years of like being alive where they've been as good musically as that song. I wouldn't like. I feel like the timing of it was so perfect in the sense of like you sent. Is it? I can't remember exactly when it came around, but it was in. There was a period where I was going from university to going to there, and in that time, um, like it was quite chaotic in the sense that like I was preparing for this and everything. So the point I'm trying to make is that I feel like for me, I've noticed that songs make a much stronger impression on me, and like in terms of impacting, like in terms of me remembering the song, in terms of how good they feel and how much I remember them when they come at a point where there's like a lot of transition or a lot of things are happening or it's just generally chaotic
Hmm.
like that. So I wonder if like you showed us that song, let's say yesterday, if it would have had anywhere near the same level of meaning, I probably would have still thought like, wow, that's an amazing song. In the
Yeah,
same way that like I've discovered this Portugal quartet, they're very similar, but I don't think I'll ever have the same. Like they won't ever be as potent
yeah, the
as
same
like
poignancy as like when you
yeah
had it at that point of change, I guess.
of change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Have you experienced that?
yeah, I agree, and I think some of the key pieces of music that, for example, I'm gonna be sharing on like the podcast and from previous episodes as well has been when I've been at like a heightened sense of emotion. So whether that be through low, through high, or like some sort of like potent emotion that I've been feeling, that's when I feel like I'm impacted the most by music, and that's what
Yeah,
it sticks with us the most. And it's not necessarily that the music's brought that emotion out of us; it's that I may have already been in a certain emotional state, and the music has like either found us at that point to change my emotion, or that it's like fit so well with what I was already feeling at the time that I've remembered
yeah.
it that way. Does that make
That's 100.
sense?
percent Yeah, that makes 100% sense. Definitely, definitely. Um, I wonder if there's much research into this sort of into this area, like because it's almost like your brain, as you say, based on like your environment or as you described there, like in terms of your emotional state, you can kind of like you're kind of reaching out for music and latching onto it and absorbing it more than if you're just kind of like in the daily grind, what you've been doing for the last few years, and everything's the same. You're just like, yeah, it doesn't. Nothing hits the same. I feel like things don't hit the same way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And there's been songs that I've probably like heard for the first time over recent weeks or months. And like you say, they won't have the same kind of longer lasting effect because I've not gone through some sort of like emotional state while I've been listening to it, or there's not been the change in my life that has been
Yeah,
able to stick to it. Um,
yeah. And I
yeah,
would say the change is probably it's not the change, is it? As you say, it's the emotional state the change creates.
yeah,
So it's not that there was it's not that I mean it might be that there's a new environment, for example, or it might be that there's fear or there's excitement or whatever the new environment creates. Um, yeah.
definitely.
So
I mean, like I've got a song that I will cover in a future episode, so I'll not spoil it. But it perfectly ties into that sense of like it come at us during a point of change, and I
mm,
think that there's probably a lot to be said for that in terms of how music stays with us. Um, and it'd be interesting to see if there is any kind of like deeper delving studies or anything into why that's the case, or um, it's definitely worth looking into further, like for sure.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that song choice. I think it was a really good one. And again, I'm happy that you decided to share it with me.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, and I'm not surprised since you shared it with me that you enjoyed it. But yeah, no, it's yeah, I'm glad you did, and yeah, it was a mad time.
Crazy memories, but at the same time, like nice to reflect back on them, right? So
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up. I've got nothing else to say unless you want to add anything else to that.
no, I think we just about covered it all without kind of spoiling any future podcasts, because it really made us want to start speaking about other songs.
All right then. Well, thanks again, Dan, for listening to us waffle, and thanks for your insights and everything as always.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for sharing with us. Again, I know I've heard that song before, but it was nice to revisit it and with a different context. Thanks. It's been a really good discussion.
Yeah, great. For the people listening, if you're listening on a podcast platform, we also have videos on YouTube where you can see our faces. And if you're listening on YouTube and you don't want to see our faces, we're also on podcasts somewhere. Still TVC.
Yeah. You'll find it, don't worry. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, well, I've got every faith in your ability. Yeah, and if you haven't got already subscribed to on YouTube, that would be much appreciated. Helps we get people watching, and make sure that you don't miss the videos going forward. That was such a long sentence. I dragged that out so much, man.
Don't worry about
it. All right. See you later, Dan.
Yeah, see you later, mate. Catch you later.